Hi guys, welcome back. This is the fourth video of the JavaScript series, and in this video we're going to look at data types in JavaScript. The main data types that we're going to look at are numbers, booleans, strings, objects, and arrays. And as you can see, I've opened up my JS Fiddle window. You can do the same. And today we'll be writing most of the code in the JavaScript window that they've given us. So to show you some of the data types, let's start here. I'll say var a equal to 5. And then I'll say document.write a. So we expect it'll print the value of a, which is 5, and 5 is basically a number here, right? If I want to make it a string, I can simply do this, put it in double quotes, and it becomes a string. It looks the same when it's printed, but it's actually a string, and I'll show you how you can check what data type it is later on by using the type of operator. Okay. So I can also say var a is equal to hello world, and this is also a string, as you can see. And if I want to make it an object, this is what I do. I say first name is Akhil and last name is Sharma. And I can say here the document.write a, when I print the value of a, it says object. But if I want to print something specific inside an object, I have to do something like this. So this is something that can throw you off as a beginner in JavaScript. So you have to remember that to access inside the object, you have to say dot first name. I hope that's clear. Now let's say I want a to be an array, right? So I'll come here, I'll say 1 2 3 4 5, and I'll say a. So it'll show me the array 1 2 3 4 5. But if I want only a particular element here, then I'll say document a and in these square brackets I'll say, let's say 2. So this will give me the value 3. Now I know this can look very confusing to you because you don't know how arrays work and what these indexes are. This is called as an index value, and that is completely okay. There's a session that's upcoming very soon where I'll cover everything about arrays. So you don't have to understand this if you have never worked with arrays before in any other programming language. But this is how it's supposed to work. That if you write 2, it'll show you 3 because it starts from 0, 1 2 3 4 5 3 4. So there are only 4 from 0 to 4. There are 5 total values, and if you want to access this value, you'll say 2 because this is 0, 1, and 2. This is the index value basically. So a and index of 2, which is the value is 3. Okay. So this was arrays. So you've seen arrays, numbers, strings, and objects. And if I say a is equal to true, this becomes a boolean. Very simple. Okay. And now let's look at how things work when we try to add strings or numbers together. So like let's say where as a is equal to 5, right, and where b equal to a string, which is Volvo. Now this is something again that kind of throws people off, especially if you're a beginner, because JavaScript works really different here. If you were to do var c is equal to a plus b in another language, like let's say Java or C++, it's going to give you an error. It's not going to print C for you. But here JavaScript is a dynamic type language. It's not a static type language. So it's going to try and convert 5 into a string, so that it can add it with Volvo. Or so as you can see, 5 was a number, but it converted 5 into a string and then added to Volvo. It didn't give you an error. Or if you can also convert this into a string and then add both of these together, it'll give you the same result, right? So even if you don't do that, it's going to still convert it into a string and then add the 2 strings together, concatenate both the strings. I hope that's clear. And now another example to show that JavaScript is a dynamic type language is, let's say when I say var a is equal to 5 and then I say var a is equal to hello, then I'll say var a, document.write a. Now if you do this in another language like Golang for example, or like Python or Java for example, what's going to happen here is actually I'm not sure about Python, but I know about Golang. and Java, that what's going to happen here is that it's going to give you an error because it's going to in its memory is going to say that a is actually an integer, and then when you try to assign a string to it, it's going to give you an error because it's going to say that the type of a is integer, right? But here what JavaScript does is it's going to actually not really care about what the type of a was. It's still going to just give it the value hello, and that's why it's called dynamic type language. The type is changing dynamically, so it's going to say hello, no error. This can lead to a lot of confusion in the beginning when you're starting out with JavaScript, but I'm just pointing out all the things to you which can confuse you. And now sometimes you want to write things in double quotes, right? Let's say I want to say hello, how are you, and then I want to say Alan, but I want Alan to be in double quotes. So if I try doing this, writing another double quote here, if I try doing this, it's not going to run. It's going to basically give me an error, right? So if I want to do this, what I'll do is I'll put the whole sentence in single quotes and then only Alan in double quotes, and this will work. See? And if you want to put something in single quotes, as in you want to display something in single quotes, then you have to cover the whole sentence in double quotes and then keep the thing that you want to show in single quotes in single quotes. So you can see here Alan is now in single quotes. I hope this was helpful. And then now the other question that comes around is, how does JavaScript handle float values, right? Like these 34.00. So it handles them like normal numbers. It's going to say 34 if it's 00, but if it's 34, it's going to say 34. So you don't have to specifically tell JavaScript that I'm assigning this as a float or as a integer. It's going to figure out on its own if it's a float or integer, and it's going to store them with the values like that. Similarly with long numbers, so if you're coming from a different coding language, like programming language like C, C++, then you have something called as long number there. So you have something very similar here. Let's say I'll say 1, 2, 3, E5, but you don't have to specifically tell JavaScript that this is a long number. It's going to automatically store it like this. Similarly with the number like this, it's going to store it like a number. Now let me show you how Booleans can work. So like let's say I say var x equal to 5 or y equal to 10, and then I'm going to say, document that right, x equal to y. So it's going to say false. What this is trying to do is it's going to try and compare the value of x and the value of y, which is double equal to, it's comparing the value of x and value of y, which is 5 and 10, and it's going to say false. Basically it's that it's not equal. And if I say x is not equal to y, it's going to say true, yes, that it's not equal to y. This is how Booleans work basically. And now I'm going to show you the type of operator. So let me write a here. This is the type of operator is very, very important, and this is something that you will use on almost on a daily basis. I can guarantee that to you. The reason here is that since JavaScript is a dynamic type language, you won't really come to know when something is a string, when something is a number. So to debug errors or to check which type it is, you may need to keep checking with the help of type of. Okay, so let's say a equal to hello. So it says string. A equal to true. It should say Boolean, right? Let's say a equal to 5, it will say number. So let me show you that example again with this operator so that you understand much better. And C equal to a plus b. Then when I say type of C, then you can try and guess what the type of C will be. It's going to be string, because like I said, it's going to try and convert 5 into string to add to this with hello. It's not going to give you an error here. right? And now let's see the type of, let's say a equal to empty, right? This is an empty string. If you've come from another coding language, and this is you would probably be aware of how to declare an empty string. Basically, what we are saying is that the value of a is empty. There's nothing null, or just completely empty, or an empty string. When we say type of a here, it's going to say string because it's an empty string. And if I say the value of 0 is a number, and then I say the value of a is equal to 3.14, let's say this is a number again. I mean, there's no discrimination between an int or a float or a long number. I hope you can understand that, and I'll show you the long number also. If you run this again, it's again shows you number. It's not, there's no concept of int, float, and long numbers. So I'm just trying to explain that to you, so that you don't get surprised. And you can also do calculations inside this type of operator. Like, let's say 5 plus 4. I know this is going to be 9, right? So it's going to say number. I'll say type of hello. It's going to say string. I can say plus world. It's going to say string again, right? And now I want to show you something really interesting here. Let's say I say car, and I say var car. So I just define var car, but I don't really put any value to it, right? I just say that car is a type of a variable, but I don't say that car is equal to 1 or 2 or something like that, right? So if I let me first show you how it works with something like this. Like the car is equal to Volvo, right? It's going to say string. But if I just say var car, that's it. It's going to say undefined. So this is a very important keyword in JavaScript, undefined. So you just have to remember that. You're going to see this in a lot of places. So if I want this to be undefined, I can also say just car is equal to undefined. It's going to say the same thing again. The type of car is undefined, right? And let me show you something else. Let's say var person is equal to, I'll define an object, first name. If you don't understand what objects are right now, it's okay. It's completely okay, because I'm going to have an upcoming session about how objects work, so you don't have to really worry. So I'll say Akhil. I'll say last name is Sharma. I'll say type of person, because person is my object, right? I'm going to say object. But if I say person is equal to null, what do you think the type of should be out here? It's null, right? The type of could be null, it could be anything, but the type of is object. So basically null in JavaScript is an object. So this is something that you have to remember. This is something that you might get an error from later on when you become a more enhanced, like a more mature developer. Then we have something else that I can show you is, let's say where function person. Now let's see what this says. It's not going to say anything. Let me remove var. Sorry, yeah, it wasn't. The var was not supposed to be there. If I say function person, then the type of person is basically function, right? Now something interesting that I want to show you here is, let's say I say var a is equal to 1 2 3 4 5. If you've worked with another programming language, you would know that this has to be, if I say the type of, what is the type of a, it should show me array, right? But with JavaScript, when you do this, it says object. And this is something that is a big gotcha. This is something that is going to confuse a lot of people. And the reason here is that an array in JavaScript is a type of an object, is an object basically. There's no separate data type called as array. You can create arrays, but it's going to be stored as an object in JavaScript, and this is going to lead to a lot of confusion later on. So I'm just pointing it out to you right now that take a note here, keep this in your memory. This is not something that people usually teach in JavaScript lessons, and I don't know why. But when you start coding on a day-to-day basis, these are the kind of errors that you're going to have later on. So I'm just pointing all these things out to you. And I hope this video was helpful. We've seen how Booleans work. We've seen how numbers, strings, objects, and arrays work. We've seen the type of operator. We've seen how addition works with strings, and if you try to add strings and numbers. But in the next video, which is about arithmetic operators, I'll cover all of that. I think in more detail, or maybe not, or maybe somewhere later on when I'll have a session on strings, maybe I can cover that later on in detail. But for now, you need to remember that JavaScript is a dynamic type language. If you say that a variable is a number, and then you assign a string to it, there's no problem. It's not going to give you any errors. And when you try to add a number and a string, again, there's no error there, because JavaScript is going to try and convert the number or the integer into string. And the other important thing to remember here is that JavaScript does not discriminate between integer, float, and long numbers. All of them are just numbers in JavaScript, right? So if you're coming from a different programming language, all these things are really important for you to understand. Thank you for watching this video. I'm going to now log off, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.